Hello everyone, welcome back to Vyapar Jagat TV and I am your host. I am Dr. Praveen Parmar, founder of vyaparjagat.com. And so friends, हम every day कितना प्लास्टिक कंज्यूम करते हैं? डू यू हैव एनी आइडिया? अब एक बार सोचो, मतलब काफी सारी चीजें ऐसी है कि जो हम देखते हैं बट हम फॉलो नहीं करते हैं. And there are entrepreneurs, those who are thinking about it and they are trying to solve those problems. And ऐसे ही एक woman entrepreneur हमारे साथ है. She is Chaitsi Ahuja and she took an initiative wherein she thought कि ये जो भी प्लास्टिक है, जो भी मतलब क्लाइमेट एक इशू है, एनवायरमेंट एक इशू है, and it is not just an issue for 1 or 5 or 10 people, it is a global issue now. And ये particular issue जो है उसको solve करने के लिए Chaitsi has taken an initiative and during this particular show we are going to know more about Chaitsi, about her journey, about her initiative and what are the challenges she is facing और बहुत सारी चीजें which is related to environment. तो आइए देखते हैं. चैत्सी, वेलकम टू व्यापार जगत टीवी.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is our pleasure, Chaitsi, to have you in this particular show. So Chaitsi, so we'll start with the very first question is how it was all started. What is the story behind it?
तो स्टोरी बहुत सिंपल है एक्चुअली. मैं बचपन से ही नेचर से काफी क्लोज थी. I've been very inspired by trees and soil and generally loved hanging out in my garden growing up. And जैसे मैं बड़ी हुई and as and when I started going out in the world, I still felt that disconnect from nature when we started. So when I moved to Bombay or when I went to study abroad. I felt always a connection with nature, but I always felt like I was away from it. And in our lifetime, I'm a millennial, and in our lifetime, it's become very, very convenient for us to get everything at the click of a button. And we've become very distant from nature in general. So I would always find ways to stay close to that, try to not do any harm. I was, in college also, I used to do these tree plantation drives. But as and when I started working in different companies, I was very interested in production methods. कि चीजें कैसे बनती हैं, what are the materials used, what is the impact of that on the environment? Because कुछ भी excess में करना is not healthy, even for us, for the planet. Or अगर आप बहुत कुछ, like if you have sugar in excess, it's bad for you. So similarly, anything in excess is bad. And from that principle, I started reading up about plastic as a problem. कि ये मटेरियल एक्चुअली इन्वेंट हुआ था एनिमल क्रूअल्टी को किल करने के लिए, लेकिन इसका जिस तरह से आज यूज हो रहा है इन सिंगल यूज फॉर्म एंड इन सो मेनी डिफरेंट प्लेसेस, बिकॉज वो इतना अफोर्डेबल बन गया है कि we've stopped thinking about what it is doing. It's actually doing more harm than good that it was supposed to do. So I made it my mission ki is it possible to live without plastic? And so personally I started a challenge in 2016 कि how do I start cutting plastic out of my life and start replacing it with alternatives that are available. शुरू में दातुन ट्राई किया, नहीं पसंद आया. Then I found a bamboo toothbrush. Started making my own soaps at home to not get those big shampoo bottles. ऐसे करके घर का wet waste segregate करना ताकि waste कम बाहर जाए. So these are the small steps that I took, but it wasn't easy and it wasn't a cakewalk. तो काफी सारी रिसर्च करके स्टडी करके मैंने बहुत सारे मेरे जैसे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के साथ बातें की, उनकी स्ट्रगल समझी, व्हाट आर देयर प्रॉब्लम्स, व्हाट इज द मार्केट लुकिंग लाइक. एंड आई एम फ्रॉम अ बिजनेस फैमिली, तो आई ऑलवेज हैड दिस कीड़ा इन मी कि कुछ सॉल्व करना है. हाउ डू आई सॉल्व अ बिगर प्रॉब्लम दैट इज जस्ट नॉट माइन बट अ वर्ल्ड प्रॉब्लम. So that's when after talking to a lot of business entrepreneurs, after going through my own struggles of other people like me, I thought, okay, why not create one place where people like me who care about the environment could go and shop and still not feel guilty कि I'm not doing any harm to the planet. That's how Brown Living was born in 2019. That's when I decided that I do not want to create more waste in this world entirely, and devoted my whole time and effort and everything to it.
Super, very inspiring. And Chaitsi, suppose I ask you that how do you define the sustainability or sustainable development? Then what will be your definition?
So I think my definition is pretty simple. Whatever you do in life, whether it is consuming products, whether it is traveling, whether every part of your life has some kind of energy emission or some kind of output to the world. That output should not do any harm in the long run. It should not, like for example, plastic is something that I always give examples of, because it is something that doesn't decompose in 600, 800 years. So if you consume one piece of plastic or buy something, it's going to stay on this planet for 800 years. And that's very, very disturbing for me. So for me, I think sustainability is centered around how do you live your life in a way that doesn't do any harm to people, to species, to the planet in general, so that you and your future generations can continue to live the good lives that we've all had. So it's actually a mindset that you need to inculcate in yourself कि हर एक चीज, अभी बहुत सारी लाइट्स ऑन है because of the video shoot, but I'm worried कि यार ये इतनी लाइट जरूरी नहीं है, should I put it off, so it's that mindset that comes over time. You can start with small things around you so that they are constant reminders, but it's literally like a mindset. Like when you want to live a healthy life, you will probably stop going to a pizza parlor, or you will stop eating ice cream, and that thought will stay with you constantly. So you need constant reminders around you, and that's why people start with objects around you which you use every day, and then that helps you stay on that journey. So it's very important to have those reminders around you.
Absolutely. And Chaitsi, I have other questions regarding the green entrepreneurship or eco-friendly business. But before that, I want to ask you, about your marketplace, and what are your products and services, and how you are adding value to sustainability.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. So Brown Living is actually a marketplace. It's a multi-seller platform. So we have sellers from across the country, about 350 now, and they are spread across multiple categories. So the objective was from the same question, how can I replace everything in my life that is made with plastic with an alternative that is probably sustainable and doesn't harm the planet. So we don't have a definition of कि हम सिर्फ fashion में ही हैं या हम सिर्फ beauty में ही हैं. We are across categories. We have options from dental floss to clothing to home decor pieces to everything possible that is created, fabricated sustainably, not just for the material that it is made with, but also looking at the whole process. Because plastic pollution is one problem, but human unfair trade practices, production methods, that's also another problem. So we've looked at the whole life cycle of a product in its creation and afterlife. So we have this framework called the Brown Lens, which looks at every product from a sustainability point of view. So what is the product made of? How is it made? Who are the people behind the process? Do they have fair and clean working conditions? Are they paid well? Where does the material come from? Is it extracted, ethically and sustainably? And the whole process of it. And after the product is delivered and sent and used by the customer, what is the afterlife for that? Is that thought through? All of that is designed from a concept of circular design. So right from the point you start designing or sketching a product, you need to think about all these things. So we work with brands and sellers and manufacturers who have this approach. So we ask a lot of questions before a brand is onboarded. Kahan se layo, certificate hai ya nahi, send us samples, we check everything. All of these boxes you see are all samples that we get so that we can check them, pack them, show them how it's packed, how to pack plastic free without bubble wrap. So there's a whole process to that. And once we are okay and we are confident that this is a sustainable product and it's a brand that is genuine in this space, that's when we onboard them and their products go live on the platform. So we have almost 10,000 products as of today on the platform from various categories. We started with about 300 about 3 years ago. We had just 15 brands who said, okay, I believe in you, and they joined hands with us. But it's been a very, very interesting ride. I've met so many humble people who are, really, really interested in this cause and have devoted their lives just like me. So I'm very happy to share that we'll complete 3 years very soon in August, and it's just been upwards. We've snowballed and reached a lot of people in this space.
Definitely. And Chaitsi, so there are so many marketplaces already India has, and people are used to buy through Flipkart, Amazon, and then the several marketplaces. Even in fact, I have gone through some of the marketplaces wherein they are selling the green products or the eco-friendly products. So how are you different from them, and what is your especially the logistic process, and are you dispatching all the products, or the vendors themselves or the merchants themselves are delivering the products?
So the answer to this question is we are different because we have a holistic approach. We don't just want to sell products. We look at everything from a sustainability point of view. So from the distribution model, products directly go from sellers to customers because we are very conscious about our carbon footprint. So we don't want the product to travel multiple places, store it in a warehouse, let it sit there. If it's not sold, send it back. We don't do that. Stocks remains with sellers. We have a backend system which basically gives them notifications on when an order is received, and automatically it gets shipped out through our system. In terms of how we are different in the offering that we have, we literally physically check each and every product before it is listed on the website. We don't do QCs after it is listed, checking reviews. We actually physically check each product, document it in photos, videos. There's a long dialogue between us and the brand to understand where the ingredients are coming from, where the materials are coming from. Nobody else in India, as for my understanding, does that right now. They just give you a dashboard and they let you list everything that you have. But I think this stems from the fact that I was greenwashed a lot, learning about my sustainability journey. And sometimes people say it's a green product, but it may be not. Maybe the brand also, or the product producer also doesn't know about it. So because we have this dialogue, we discuss with a lot of brands, they also sometimes start realizing, okay, I need to change this in my next batch. I need to make this change. I need to get this certification, which makes them also confident about their sustainability promise. So that is the whole process that we follow before a product is even visible on the website. All of that is not visible to public because they will just see, oh my God, so many products. But there is a lot of back-end work that we do and research and verification that we do that nobody else does. And we are the only platform in India that is completely plastic free. We don't allow plastic packaging of the product. We don't allow plastic in shipping, packing, courier, nothing. So it's been a difficult task to do, but I think we've cracked the code and we've been able to do enough more training with, packing staff of our sellers and, doing all of that, physically checking, packing them, showing them videos, doing sessions with them to be able to execute it to the last leg. And that's, I think, very important. Like even with the plastic ban in India, it was actually a few years ago that it was first introduced, but it wasn't executed to the last leg, to the hawkers that we have on the road, to the brands that sell plastic bags or whatever. So it's very important to be able to execute it to the last level, and I'm happy to share that we've been able to do that, and that's what makes us different.
Superb. So, Chaitsi, I also want to know, and in fact, I think everybody, those who are watching this particular video, right? So they are having this question that being a woman entrepreneur and running this startup like a marketplace, it's a huge challenge because you have to think of a lot of things, and the way you have explained that you have very I know the specific and very precise process wherein you are checking each and everything. So quality is something that you make sure that you deliver the right thing. So Chaitsi, I mean, is it a bootstrap startup or you have an investor? And if you have investor, so I mean, what was the process when you have onboarded the investor or so? Please let us know about it.
Sure.
Yeah, so there came a point where we realized that we needed some more help in terms of finances and to really scale this up and reach more people. And that's when I started talking to one of our very old customers, Pragya Kapoor. And she happens to be an environmentalist herself, runs a foundation. And I was just candidly talking to her about, we're looking for somebody to partner with us and come in as an investor. And if you do know somebody, let us know. And a few days later, she came back to me and said, you don't really need to look for an investor. I will come in and invest. So it wasn't really a pitch. We didn't have, a formal meeting about it. It was just, we really connected on a level where we both wanted the same thing. And our purpose was very, very clear from the beginning. And that's when she came in on board. We did that round last year in June. So it's been almost a year now. And since then, we've actually grown substantially in terms of sales, in terms of our team, in terms of everything. So we've been bootstrapped for 2 years and 1 year of funding. That's how the journey has been.
Super. Chaitsi, what is your larger goal or vision?
I would say we want to be I want Brown Living to stand for everything about sustainability, and we've been able to do that to a certain extent. But I think India as a space is largely inspired by the West in terms of consumption, in terms of habits. So because McDonald's or Starbucks becomes popular in the West, it becomes popular here. People start going without really thinking about what impact it could have. And sustainability is all about producing and consuming local stuff. So my intention with Brown Living is to bring that to the forefront. We have so much craft, so much rich culture. In fact, India is the biggest zero waste country that you could ever find. So we really want to bring that, all the motivations and thoughts around yoga, Ayurveda, the Indic values that we had, and in a culture where our t-shirts become, floor cleaners, it's very important to bring back some of those values, what we learned from our grandparents and parents, and really bring that mindset to the forefront. So our main goal is to make sustainability mainstream. Even today, a lot of people tell me that, okay, it's only for a select few segments of the, of India, and it's only some people can afford it. But I have data and, real life examples to tell you that, 20 years ago, people didn't even think of installing solar panels or getting a rainwater harvesting system or starting to grow their own greens. But people are shifting, their mindset is shifting. Now, how do we make that journey easy, accessible and affordable? So that is the promise that, over time, we want to make sustainability easy, accessible and affordable to all Indians, and remind them and make them more sustainable over time.
Super. So, Chaitsi, you are a millennial, you are a woman entrepreneur and a startup as well. So, we want to know about the challenges which you had in the beginning, or challenges you are currently having, or the challenges which you have in the entire journey. So, tell us about your challenges, please.
I think that the bigger challenge is to really identify a customer, because it's not that somebody who's 60-year-old is less interested in sustainability than a 50-year-old or a 20-year-old. And we are in the digital space, so it really becomes difficult to identify what segment, what age group, what culture, what caste. But I think what brings people in sustainability together is the humility and the general kindness of people. People want to, do good things. It's only a matter of whether it is a priority for them or not, or whether they have enough time for it. So again, coming back to what we want to do is we want to make it super easy. You have all the options right here. It's whether you choose to buy from any of the mainstream marketplaces or a shop nearby. As long as you shop, you must shop sustainable, and you must choose sustainability in everything you do, because our world is going through a very tough time. We may not want to believe it, but it's actually true. And I actually suffer from something called eco anxiety, and I've realized over time that the only thing that helps is to keep doing good and keep helping people and keep providing solutions. So as long as you're able to consistently do that in your own life, talk about it, talk about your problems, talk about how we can save the world, what are the solutions we have. So the challenge here is to really identify who do we talk to and what pata nahi kab kya chal jaye. So we're constantly putting in efforts to all kinds of people, all kinds of whether it's investor networks or it's customers or it's generally sellers and businesses in general in this space. We talk to a lot of them and try to really understand what motivates them, what are their aspirations in life, and really bring them to that common ground. Okay, sustainability is important, and how do we help you in that journey?
Superb. So now my next question is about your so far achievements and recognitions you have, Chaitsi.
I don't really like to boast, but we've been very, very fortunate to be featured in Your Story as 100 emerging women leaders. We've been recognized also by Cosmopolitan India for Disruptors list, I think. And Google India had a Digital Women's Awards where I was featured as well. I've had the opportunity to meet the Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, where they had organized a conclave on tribal and folk art, where I was a panelist. And we're working with those tribal communities and artisans to bring them to digital and help them sell their produce and products and art online. So that's another thing we're working on. And really, I think the bigger recognition is that I have platforms like yourself who invite us, and we've just organically received a lot of requests, whether it's our corporate clients, whether it's customers who just know about us and they just tell other people, and a lot of stuff is organic, which is what I like, because brown living, the core meaning of it is to come from the soil, everything that comes naturally from the soil, organic. So it's also been our marketing strategy in a way that just do good and put it out there in the world, and good things will come back. So I've been very, very blessed with that.
Absolutely, Chaitsi. So again, coming back to the green entrepreneurship. So we want to know, more about green entrepreneurship. So especially, what are your views about green entrepreneurship, and how can businesses themselves future-proof when it comes to green demands?
So, firstly, I don't think green as a word justifies the problem at large, because eco-friendly and green industry has existed for about 20-30 years in India, but nobody's really sat down to organize it and really think from a systems level. We've always thought, okay, handicraft, handmade, all those tribal kind of designs, but businesses really need to think about what the urban consumer of today needs. Make that product relevant to a customer of today. Like, for example, tongue cleaners, right? They've existed in our history of products for years, but nobody's really designed it to make it look really sexy or like look really well designed, like somebody would use it on an Instagram reel. But everybody today is on that medium. So so a lot of work we do is also with designers from these brands to make products aesthetically relevant, so that it gets used more and more by people who care so much about how things look. So it's not just about materials and processes and certifications anymore. It's also about what the product looks like. Is it simple? Is it timeless? And timelessness also is important, because something might be trending today but may not be trending tomorrow. So how do you sustain as a product or as a business through those waves of trending and fads is if you make a timeless good design which is functional, which has a certain way that it looks. It's very, very important. And to businesses, I would say that if you want to be sustainable and if you want to be green, please have a systemic thinking approach. Please look at the whole problem as a holistic problem. Don't just try to replace one thing because it might have repercussions. And like there was this skincare company who said we want to change our tubes to paper tubes, but actually that paper tube will have a layer of plastic, which makes it even more difficult to recycle because it is fused with another material. So when you are even changing small things in your business or processes or materials, look at what the actual impact would be. Look at the afterlife, because that is the main problem. We're not looking at consumer ने ले लिया, डस्टबिन में ही जाएगा ना वो, डस्टबिन से लैंडफिल में जाएगा, लैंडफिल से वाटर स्ट्रीम्स में जाएगा. Nobody is thinking about that. So I think the biggest shift in mindset for entrepreneurs, for creators, for designers is to really think and have the intent to do enough research before they make a step. It's okay if you take 5 years to invent a product, but like at least when you create it, it doesn't need to do more harm. Again, coming back to the sustainability definition. So that's very, very important.
Superb. And Chaitsi, can you think of any important boundary conditions for sustainable entrepreneurship?
No, in fact, there are more positives than limitations and barriers, because it's really about you find the right thing. There are many artisan groups, there are many manufacturers who are actually looking for people who can help them sell. So it's really about identifying the right product category, look at the size of that market and make sure that it's a decent size market. With that market, attach the right kind of audience. Time, place, audience is everything. If you have that fixed right, you're definitely going to succeed. And with this whole green movement and plastic free July, the plastic ban, government policies changing on favoring sustainable homegrown local businesses, it's only going to be upwards from here. So it's a great time to be here, but it's also should have been yesterday. So it's the need of the hour. We need a lot more people in this space. We need people to not just do this because it's a passion project. Invest your time in it. It's definitely going to give you results.
Cool. So, Chaitsi, how do you see the role of SMEs in solving the global climate crisis?
I think it's the only saving grace, because I think with what happens is when you can solve something in a smaller group, you can quickly bring it to scale if your thought process is making it to scale. So a lot of innovations and research is happening at very, very small levels, and we are also trying to bring them all together, get them the right kind of audience and funding, so that those projects, like for example, there is a lot of research happening on biodegradable plastic. Now those manufacturers have such limited capital that they can only serve so many people. But if that technology is robust and if it's scalable, and if we get them the right kind of attention and funding and customer base, it's definitely gonna reach the world. Great example would be Piñatax, which is a innovation on pineapple leather, which was alternative to PU and leather-based products. Same thing happened with lots of people are making seaweed t-shirts. Now seaweed is something which actually in the ocean, but it can be manifested very, very quickly like bamboo and can be used to make garments. If we switch over completely to bamboo t-shirts or seaweed t-shirts, that's again very sustainable, because it's not gonna put any pressure on growing those products or growing those greens, but it's also gonna solve for biodegradability and it's not gonna stay on the planet. So really thinking about doing these innovations at a small level first, and then getting access to grants and funding is actually very, very feasible in India right now.
Okay, so Chaitsi, now I have one more question which is not related to your business or the green entrepreneurship, but it is personally related to your personal journey. Wherein Chaitsi, just let us know that when you are not working. Okay, so how do you spend where do you spend your time? I mean, what are the set of activities which you are interested to do, and you are spending your time outside the work?
I think in the last 3 years, I've realized one thing, that 24 hours are less for one entrepreneur, because you always want to get so much done. So my work days are very, very long, but there are times when I strictly cut myself off, take that day off. But when I do that, I would like to go for a walk or a trek or go to the beach, just relax a bit, listen to some music. I like to paint sometimes, so I do that. I love reading, so I always keep collecting books. And that one day when I read multiple books together. So yeah, I mean, all of them. Cooking also I like, but I don't get the time to do that. So this is what I like to do.
Super. So Chaitsi, we as an entrepreneur, we always have to sharpen the axe, and that's how we have to work on our skills, our the personality development or the improvement. So, what is one thing which you are learning as of now? I mean, or especially one the kind of, let's say, it is, you find that that is something where it is your weakness and you are trying to improve it.
I think I've not really managed big teams at scale. And because we are getting ready to scale up, I think that's one thing that I'm reading up about, learning on, and training myself on how to inspire people at large, and, manage people without getting personally affected, because I'm a very emotional person, and it's very important to keep that balance in the mind and keep something separate. And so that's something. So emotional intelligence is something that I'm reading up about, and how do you implement that in real life and to inspire people.
Awesome, that's really interesting. Okay, Chaitsi, so before we conclude this particular interview, my last question is, what message do you want to convey to the viewers and to other entrepreneurs or the business professionals?
I would say, whatever you are, wherever you are in the world, I think one thing you must do is be kind. And being kind is not just to yourself or to your parents or to people who you live with, but to the planet in general. Think about that before you pick up that plastic container, or throw something into the dustbin. Think about where it's going to go. Think about what it can do to the world, and that consistent reminder will probably change the way you live. So I would just say, in one line, be kind.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chaitsi, for joining this particular show. And so, hello everyone. If you have not subscribed Vyapar Jagat TV yet, so please do subscribe now, and stay tuned. We are coming up with series of green entrepreneurs and series of talks. So we'll be coming up with more such green entrepreneurs or the eco-friendly entrepreneurs. And so I'm putting the contact detail of Chaitsi in this particular description, and you will find the website and the marketplace link and everything from the description. So if you want to get connected to Chaitsi, so you can reach out to Chaitsi directly from there. And if you know any other green entrepreneur or anybody who is thinking about environment, just comment their contact number or the contact information, so that we can reach out to them and we can feature in this particular talk show. Thank you so much watching this particular show. And Chaitsi, once again, thank you so much for joining and sharing the insights and sharing your experience, sharing your journey and about your initiative, Brown Living. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Chaitsi.
सपना देखें हम उसे पूरा करें, कोई उड़ना चाहे हम उसे विश्वास दे, कोई सपना देखें हम उसे पूरा करें। कोई उड़ना चाहे हम उसे विश्वास दें। जोश भरने को तैयार हम, आगे बढ़ने में राहदार हम। जोश भरने को तैयार हम, आगे बढ़ने में राहदार हम। मेरा व्यापार मेरी पहचान, मेरा व्यापार मेरी पहचान, मेरा व्यापार मेरी पहचान, मेरा व्यापार मेरी पहचान। हर व्यापार को दे पहचान। हर व्यापार को दे पहचान।